So in battle analysis, we're coming up on a series of battles that would ultimately become known as the Outer Rim Sieges, the Republic offensives that would ultimately mark the end of the war and the death of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And so I figured today, before we jump into these battles, we could take a closer look at the Outer Rim Sieges as a whole, and what they mean for the galaxy, what they mean for the war, and maybe set the stage a little bit for the final act of the Clone Wars. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So many of us are probably familiar with the Outer Rim Sieges as a concept. It's this series of battles that took place during the final months of the Clone Wars, when the Republic launched their counteroffensive into Separatist space. It would ultimately culminate in the end of the war with the surrender of the Confederacy of Independent Systems and the rise of the Galactic Empire. But it is a tumultuous time with a lot of different layers, a lot of different factors that led to the offensives happening and the outcome of the Outer Rim Sieges. And I figured today would be a nice opportunity to take a step back, discuss how we got here, and maybe take a big picture look at the Outer Rim Sieges as a whole. So let's just jump right in with how we got here. The situation for the Confederacy of Independent Systems is looking pretty grim. For now, they maintain their military competency, but that's now at risk. With the loss of Scipio, the Separatists now no longer have monetary streams of income to keep funding their war effort, and in a short amount of time, their ability to continue to produce battle droids will dry up. This is going to put their ability to keep fighting this war at risk. Meanwhile, on the other side of the front lines, the Republic are preparing for this massive offensive. A new wave of clone troopers are leaving the facilities on Kamino, fresh out of training and ready for combat. Meanwhile, a number of battle-hardened clone units are preparing to be sent into the heart of the Confederacy of Independent Systems to deal a death blow. And the Republic now controls the banks, meaning they'll have an easier time funding this military offensive and replenishing any supplies that they may need along the way. All of this puts the Separatists in a bad spot and the Republic in a fairly positive spot for this coming offensive. Now, this doesn't mean that the only things going on for the remainder of the war are going to be Republic offensives. There are some Separatist operations that we'll take note as well. Most notably, the attacks on Coruscant and Kashyyyk, which saw the Separatists attempt to strike at key locations across Republic space. But on the flip side, the Republic is about to launch a massive offensive that will strike facilities and worlds all across Separatist space, most notably worlds like Megiddo, a reassault on Cato Nemoidia, and the Battle of Utapau. On top of that, the Battle of Felucia, which has been raging since the beginning of the war, is about to heat up again. And then there's the Battle of Anaxis, which I'm not going to dive into now, because that's a whole can of worms, because the Battle of Anaxis was shifted a lot between Legends and Canon, but we'll talk about that next week. For now, basically, we have to understand that the Republic is about to launch a massive series of offensives into the Outer Rim, targeting key Separatist worlds. But an interesting thing to note is what will not be targeted in these offensives. The Republic will not be striking at Sereno, which is the sort of seat of power for the head of state of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, the homeworld of Count Dooku, where his personal residence and his offices are. And they won't be striking at Raxus, which serves as the capital of the CIS. Now let's talk about why they might not be hitting Sereno first. Now, it's entirely possible that the Republic actually had a plan to assault Sereno on the books, but dropped it after Count Dooku's death during the Battle of Coruscant. That would make the most sense to me, since Sereno would be a pretty obvious target. It's also, by the way, possible that any attack on Sereno was called off by Palpatine, who didn't want his Sith apprentice being discovered. However, the lack of an attack on Raxus is a little bit more interesting. Raxus is a major population center within Separatist space, and an attack on Raxus would likely have very high civilian casualties, and be seen very similarly to the Separatist attack on Coruscant. If the Republic is anticipating to soon be able to claim victory in this war and have to sort of police the Separatist territories, it might not be best to wage a massive war in one of their largest civilian populations that might result in some higher numbers of civilian casualties. That may lead to a little bit more animosity between the already cautious citizens of Raxus and the Galactic Republic. And a lack of an assault against a world like Raxus would ultimately make Separatist-controlled space a little bit more susceptible to Republic and later Imperial occupation. But at the end of the Outer Rim Sieges comes the rise of the Galactic Empire, which changes galactic politics as a whole, and is a massive shift in the lives of everyone in the galaxy. If you'd like to learn about how the galaxy reacted and why a lot of people in the galaxy actually supported the rise of the Empire, I'll leave a link up here to my video on that. And I'd like you to let me know down in the comments whether you think the Republic should be planning an attack on Raxus. After all, the separatists are about to lay siege to Coruscant, and it does seem fair, but at the same time, it might leave a bad taste in the civilians' mouths within the Confederacy of Independent Systems, who are now about to be occupied by the Republic's successor state. And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in science fiction, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.